All right, today we're going to be talking about John Donne's Holy Sonnet 10. The first thing we need to figure out is what does thee and thou mean in this poem? That's just a basic comprehension. What does thee mean and what does thou mean? Someone know that?
Kind of. I'd assume like you, like addressing someone else.
Okay, so thee equals you. What does thou equal? Well, let's read through the poem first, and then we'll get to that. Also, I'll do the first reading. Death, be not proud, though some have called thee mighty and dreadful, for thou art not so. For those whom thou thinkest thou dost overthrow, die not, or death, nor yet canst thou kill me. From rest and sleep, which but thy pictures be, much pleasure then from thee much more must flow. And soonest our best men with thee do go, rest of their bodies and souls' delivery. Thou art slate to fate, chance, kings, and desperate men, and dost with poison, war, and sickness dwell. And poppies or charms can make us sleep as well, and better than thy stroke. Why swellest thou then? One short sleep past, we wake eternally, and death shall be no more. Death, thou shalt die. So we have plenty of these, thous, thys. What does thou equal? In line 2, mighty and dreadful, for thou art not so. What is that? What would be the translation?
Maybe your.
For your are not so?
Okay, that doesn't make sense.
Kind of you also.
Yeah, it would be you as well. For you are not so. Alright, and we have another one in here, which is thy, correct? That would be line 5.
Or your.
From rest and sleep, which but your pictures be. So, thy equals your. Okay. So let's just take this 4 lines at a time. Alright, and then we'll work through them. Death, be not proud, though some have called thee mighty and dreadful, for thou art not so. For those whom thou thinkest dost overthrow, die not, poor death, nor yet canst thou kill me. So what is the rhyme scheme for the first 4 lines?
A, B, B, A.
Okay, A, B, B, A. Thee and me rhyme, so and overthrow rhyme. So A, B, B, A. Let's just continue with that. What are the next 4 lines?
A, B, B, A.
B and me and thee, right? So you got A. So you got flow, so, overthrow, right? Alright. And the next 4?
C, D, D, C.
Men has not come out there. Okay, so you got C, D, D, C, and the last 2.
A, E. Eternally rhymes with B, and me.
Yeah.
B.
Oh, so you say, what is it?
I said A, E,
A, E?
because eternally rhymes with B, me, we, and die doesn't rhyme with anything.
All right, and what kind of a poem is this?
Sonnet.
Sonnet.
It's a sonnet. Okay, how do you know that?
The name.
Very good, very good. Yeah, Holy Sonnet 10. It is a sonnet. And what are the characteristics of a sonnet?
14 lines.
Right, so you have 14 lines.
Specific rhymes.
14 lines, yep. Specific rhyme scheme. Right, and then sonnets usually end with what?
Couplet.
It usually ends with a couplet. Now what's going on? Why is this not a couplet here?
Probably trying to make some sort of point.
Okay. That could potentially be it. Why else?
Maybe back
Kind of a
then,
statement.
Okay.
they pronounce die like die.
There's definitely, there is, they pronounce words differently. So this would end, eternally and die. There would be a rhyme there with the pronunciation back then. So it would be a couplet. It's just not how we pronounce the words today. It's just like how we do not use thee, thou, and thy anymore. You know, that's gone away. Pronunciations have changed over time. So it would end in a couplet. It's just not how we pronounce it today. All right, let's get back up to the first 4 lines, the A, B, B, A rhyme. What's going on? Let's just work through comprehension.
People are kind of scared of death. They make it out to be too much. Like it says, "Thou somehow called thee mighty and dreadful." It's like death's not that big of a deal, but people make a big deal out of it.
Okay, so death is supposedly mighty and dreadful, but is not. Who is the speaker?
John Donne.
Okay, so you could say the poet, John Donne, is the speaker. And who is he talking with?
Death.
Yeah.
Right, what is the literary term you can use to identify that?
Personification.
Right, personification. So right away, death be not proud. This is a conversation with death. You know, death cannot be proud. You know, death cannot be mighty and dreadful. So death is being addressed. So death, it's personified in this case. Well, how do you feel about the speaker? Are you sympathizing with the speaker here at this point?
I think it's kind of, because death is, everyone has some relation to death in some way. Like, we all know we're going to die, and we might know people who have died. I think he's kind of trying to fight death in a way
Okay,
through this poem.
that's good. He's trying to fight death. All right.
But I don't know if he can successfully do that.
Okay, let's keep that question out there. Can he successfully fight death in the form of a sonnet? So he says in the first 2 lines, "Death, be not proud, though some have called thee mighty and dreadful, for thou art not so. For those whom thou thinkest thou dost overthrow, die not, poor death, nor yet canst thou kill me." So what are those lines 3 and 4? What's your comprehension of those 2 lines?
He's not going to be like consumed by it. Like he's not going to be overthrown by death. And he's not going to let it kill him. He's going to let himself go naturally. Like he's going to die. He knows that, but
Okay.
he's not going to let it consume his living.
Okay, so he knows he's going to die, but he thinks that you call it death, but it's really not. It's not bad. Okay, so we have a pretty good understanding of these first 4 lines. Now these next 4 lines, it gets fairly difficult here. From rest and sleep, which but thy pictures be. Let's talk about the word pictures. This poem was published in the 1600s, so they're not taking pictures with their flip cam or their iPhone. It could be painting,
I'd say illusions.
illusions.
I think he's talking about how people look when they die.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean, like just the
yeah.
image that you get in your head when you think of death.
Okay, how people look when they die. And then what other word kind of signals from rest and sleep, which but thy equals your pictures be. From rest and sleep, but which your pictures be.
Maybe people think that when people die, they look restful and peaceful, like it's a good thing, like.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Like when people die, they look like they're sleeping. And if they're sleeping, they look like they could potentially be dead. That's why, teachers kind of freak out when students are sleeping in their chair. Is that person even alive over there? So, yeah, that pictures is not, it's not your flip cam pictures. It's image. That's the image. That's the way the word's used. All right. Good job with that first line, Jenny. Much pleasure then from thee, much more must flow. And soonest our best men with thee do go, rest of their bones and souls delivering. So how about these next 3 lines?
Maybe talking about best men, maybe there was a war or something.
Okay.
because it says later in it, and DOS with poison war.
Okay. All right, that could be it. What else?
I think that's trying to say that that death kind of gives off an illusion that it must be pleasurable to die, because it says, then from thee much more must flow, which is kind of saying, it's kind of stating that when you die, you must get more pleasure. And then it's also talking about their best men who will die, and it's saying that their bones will rest and their souls will be delivered. So that means that it's saying that they'll get rest and they'll have pleasure and their souls will finally be delivered from earth and they'll be happy.
Yeah, excellent comprehension there. That's exactly right. He's saying that much pleasure from thee will come. Much pleasure from you. Death will bring us pleasure. It'll be rest of our bones and our souls will be delivered. So in this case, death not only is not mighty and dreadful, now it's actually doing us a service. Like, thank you, death. Now my soul will be delivered, and we get to rest. Okay, so good. So at first, death is addressed, and it's saying, you are not mighty and dreadful, and now you don't even kill me. Not only do you not kill me, you're now delivering my soul. So you're actually helping me. Let's take a look at the next 4 lines here. So thou, it starts off with thou, that means you. You art slave to fate, chance, kings, and desperate men. Now what does that mean?
Maybe it's saying like in life you're a slave to like a lot of things, like your ruler and other people and chance and fate. Those kind
Right.
of things.
Okay, yeah, so then Dunn is saying, you are slave to, let's work through these words. Fate. How could death be a slave to fate?
If it's in the cards, kind of. If it's not your day to die, you're not going to, kind of. Like,
Okay.
just, if you're there at the right place at the right time, then maybe you can escape it.
Okay. Yeah, so fate, like maybe it was your fate to die. It was, it was your day, it was an accident. Chance.
It's like, sometimes you might get lucky, sometimes you won't. So if you're lucky enough, you might be able to escape it. Like if you're not, sometimes, you're gonna die if you are unlucky.
Right. Yeah, maybe you just get unlucky.
Yeah.
Okay. How about kings? What would that mean?
Because it was written like back then when they had like kings and rulers and stuff, maybe they felt like the king like had people all the time. Maybe it just depends on how you play a role in the kingdom.
Yeah, absolutely. The kings can just say, you're going to die. And then now the king has taken death and bossed it around. You are the slave to the king. Because the king tells when people die. Okay. And then desperate men, what does that mean?
That's like
Murderers.
Criminals,
murderers, criminals.
Yeah.
People who are poor just are
Okay.
desperate of money, so they kill someone for money.
Okay, yeah, very good. So now now death has become a slave to these people: fate, chance, kings, and desperate men. And then here's the next line: and dust with poison, war, and sickness dwell. What's that?
Those are like 3 different types of ways that you die, I guess.
Yeah,
Like 3 different things that can kill you.
right. So poison can kill you, war can kill you, and sickness. And are these good things, Kirby? No.
No.
No, these are not good things. So he's saying death is kind of hanging out with poison, war, and sickness. Not good things. All right, so we've got those first 2 lines done. How about these next 2? And poppy or charms can make us sleep as well, and better than thy stroke. Why swellest thou then?
Well, poppies are like mourning, like in England. Poppies are like a sign of mourning, and it's like the flower you wear at like a funeral or like on Veterans Day. So it's
Okay.
like, if we mourn them and if we like honor them, it'll make us feel better, and death won't even be as big of a deal to us because we know they've been honored and stuff. So we can kind of combat death with our own emotions.
All right.
I think that it could also be talking about how like popular charms that could be like sort of symbolizing like somebody killing themselves or something, because it says it can make us sleep as well, which means that can make us die, and better than thy stroke, which means that you're deciding your own fate. You're not letting death deal a blow to you and kill you, and then it's asking why swellest thou then? So why do you show you're proud? Why are you proud of yourself?
Okay.
Why are you being arrogant
Mm-hmm.
when we can control our own fates?
Could be like maybe like charms like maybe good luck charms are like bringing you comfort and you sleep better when you know like you're safe.
Right. Yeah, all those interpretations can be applied here and work well. So poppies or charms can make us sleep, and then they can do a better job. So how about these last words? Why swellest thou then? What is that? What does that potentially mean?
Swellest, like to bring yourself up, like become proud. They're saying, why are you proud?
Yeah. Why swellest? So why are you walking around like why are you walking around like that with your chest swelled out and your head held high? So why are you proud? Okay. So that's the question this person asked, John Donne asked to death. So why are you proud? Why are you so proud of yourself? The last two lines. One short sleep past, we wake eternally, and death shall be no more. Death thou shalt die.
You could go to the religious aspect where when you like die you go to heaven and then
Okay.
you're not gonna have to worry about it anymore.
All right.
I agree.
Yeah.
You guys agree with that?
Yeah, short sleep, like once you die, like you die and then you go to heaven, you wake eternally forever.
Right. You never have to worry about death again.
And then death thou shalt die, like you don't affect me anymore, so you're basically dead to me.
Right, absolutely. So, very good, Jenny, about bringing the whole religion aspect in here. Is that the first time we've ever been suggested that this might be a poem that has to do with religion?
I was thinking about it kind
Holy
of like the whole time. Like,
Yeah,
And then the beginning is Holy Sonnet.
right. Holy Sonnet. That should signal right away. This is Holy Sonnet 10. So, and then it doesn't come up until at the very end. One short sleep past, and we wake eternally, and death shall be no more. Death thou shalt die. Okay. So what's your overall take? What are your feelings after you read this poem?
Personally, I think that the author, when he wrote this, I think he actually is afraid of death, because like the way he was speaking about it, I feel like he was afraid of death, so he tried to find ways to say that he wasn't anymore, and then the last two lines of this poem kind of expresses feelings towards it.
Okay.
It's kind of like his battle with death, him trying to come to terms with like, well, I know I must die, but I can take some of its power away by like looking into truly what death is, and it's not just some omnipotent thing. It's just kind of a thing I can deal with.
You
Yeah, I
could
think it,
look
like-
at it as like maybe people, like him giving comfort to people who are close to death maybe, showing that telling them it's not so bad and that once you die you'll go to heaven.
And like I was saying, like, I think like he starts up kind of more on the negatives of death, and he gets kind of more into like, I guess positives, because like he starts out a little more depressed and like just talking about how like awful death is and how kind of like scared he is, but then later on he talks about, I mean, once you're dead you don't have to die, and like he's talking about the positives.
Okay.
I agree with Ahmed on that. I actually think that on the line where it says, die not for death, nor yet canst thou kill me, I think he's sort of challenging death. Like he's saying that he's not afraid of it, and he kind of like wants it to happen to him for whatever reason.
Okay. So what kind of situation? Let's put yourself in Donne's shoes. What would inspire a poet to write this poem?
Maybe he was depressed, maybe somebody in his family was close to death, could have been sick or like had a plague or something like that.
Okay. Other thoughts?
Maybe like he was actually close to dying, and I feel like that's why he was provoking death so much in his poem.
It's not known when exactly this poem was written. It was published after he died. There are suppositions that Donne wrote this after his wife had died, so that maybe this was kind of like his way of like expressing his anger at death for taking away a loved one. So that could be potentially the reason. Now, how about the form of this poem? Okay, we've discovered that it is a sonnet. Do you agree with the form? Does the form, the sonnet, is this a proper way to address to address death, this message? Does it help or hurt the message?
I
The
think
sonnet?
it helps because aren't sonnets usually written about like love and like affections?
Yeah.
So maybe he's trying to show that like he doesn't care, like if death is gonna get him, then he's gonna embrace it, kind of.
Okay. Okay.
Like fighting death with the opposite of what it is, like good emotions, like showing I'm gonna fight you using these good feelings that I have.
Okay.
I can overcome you with these.
It's kind of a passionate poem.
Right. Right.
Yeah, it's almost like humans versus death, because like if it's like Shakespeare or whatever and he does like sonnets, it's like the love and emotion of a human and like how smart humans are and intellectual like emotions of human versus death, and it's like doesn't have emotions and it lives off of like people's sadness and stuff, but so it's kind of like a clashing of two mindsets almost.
Yeah. Excellent.
I feel like the couplet at the end of the poem helps it out a lot, because we've been reading a lot of poems about that are sonnets, and like at the end they have couplets, and I feel like it's like proving the point really well.
So the couplet is really helping to prove the point. It's like that last shot. That's what the couplet does. It's like the knockout punch for the sonnet. And here it is. One short sleep past, we wake eternally, and death shall be no more. Death, thou shalt die. So that's like his final. Get out of here, death. Okay. Any other thoughts before we wrap this up? All right. Very good job. Thank you.